Hey, Tom here, FlipAnythingUSA. So on my blog, I share how I made my fortune in real estate, starting at 19 years old, millionaire by 28, made tens of millions of dollars since, and I'm going to show you how you can do it too through my book, through my videos, through my mentorship, and at the end of this video, I'm going to explain exactly why these commercial properties are the cream of the crop and why they are so profitable, and while ultimately this is where you want to get. This is the kind of property you want to hold. So be sure to stay through to the end. We're moving into the area where I just bought my latest commercial strip center. I think it's 17,800 square feet. It has about a 7 cap. This is going to be a neat one. Yeah, here it is right here. I got a martial arts studio in the corner. I've got a vape store on the far left, beauty supply, Cuban bakery, couple of loan outfits side by side. They don't conflict with each other. That's good. Got a nurse's aid training, got a hair salon, got an animal clinic, a vet basically, and a palateria. It's my first time I've ever had a palateria, which is a popsicle store, basically, Spanish popsicle store. So this is a major thoroughfare. And it's so busy going both ways that it has the benefits of being what's on the going home side of the road both ways, because there's enough commerce each direction that it's equally busy at different times. Take a look at the trees. I had them raise the bonnet. See how these trees were way too low? There was way too much undergrowth. So when people drive by, they can't see the businesses that are here. Nobody was complaining, but I just know from experience, you want your tenants to have as much exposure as they possibly can to the street. And this is a prime corner, folks. I have a 4-way street going this way, and then I've got a 4-way street going this way. So this is an incredibly busy corner, which is pure gold for my tenants. This is a nice prime corner, and for this guy, you know, he's got really the benefit of all this traffic. Look at all this traffic that's got a stop sign right now. Look how many cars we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 14 cars were sitting there briefly at that stop sign. And when it backs up the other way, it'll probably be 30 in each direction. While they're sitting there waiting for the light, they're looking around and they're gonna take notice, oh, hey, there's a popsicle shop, or you know, a jiu-jitsu studio or a karate studio. This goes to the importance of trimming the trees. Look at this traffic down the street here. All that traffic going by both ways, and they miss so much. You can see, like, what they gotta look through this, they can't see the signs. But now look over here, these trees were just as bad. So you couldn't see through any of this. And so this is the first thing I'm doing to fix up this property, is make it more visible. I also plan on raising the rents. It's gonna be easy to swallow the rents going up when you see somebody improving the property. So that's what we're doing here. The other thing is, we can take a look at this sign. This is really strange. This is what you call a pylon sign. A pylon sign, and I don't know why this thing's so low to the ground and so far off the street. I think it may be a city ordinance, but it doesn't make much sense. But I'm probably gonna buy a brand new one, but I'm gonna see if I can get a permit and put this much closer to the street. But at a minimum, I'm gonna improve it. But now look already, he's trimmed those trees out. You can see the cars going by. You couldn't even hardly see the cars going by. These are pretty bad here too. I may just see if I can't get my neighbor to trim his trees. We'll see on the alley, on the back side of the alley, there's a lot of tree trimming to do too. So this is a cool structure. This place has been here about 35 years. It's a steel construction building. It has a metal roof. It has a metal facade. It looks really in pretty good condition. I'm probably gonna repaint this metal facade. I haven't decided what yet. All these businesses have been here. The shortest term tenant I have is 7 years. The longest term is 20 years, but 80% of the building has been here 11 years and counting. So real happy with this property. I've got this urgent care building next door to me. It's actually not a part of the property. I'm gonna look into buying it someday, but it's not a part of it at the moment. Anywhere I buy a property, the first thing I do is I try to find out who owns the property next door to me, just in case we might share the burden of, you know, landscaping, tree cutting, adding a fence, that sort of thing. So first thing I do is try to get the number of the owner here. Probably not getting the owner here, I'm probably getting the management company, but that's kind of normal, but I'll still try to ultimately get a hold of the owner, because I might want to buy this place too. And of course I want to deal directly with the owner when that happens. There's a hamburger store that is for sale. They went out of business. This property across the street, I may end up buying it too. I don't know. It's one of those deals where I think it's eight heirs to it, and in this case they all want too much. But back to the property itself here, and consider this. The property I sold to buy this one was producing about the same, but it was half the size. And this has some benefits too, because when you get into these strip centers like this, each and every one of these businesses has its own electric meter. This is why I like this kind of property. Each one of these belongs to a different tenant. Each one is responsible for their own electricity. So when a tenant has their own electric meter, they're much more careful with your utility bill. They'll make sure they turn their heat off at night or turn it down. Same with the AC, they don't run it cold all night. They'll run the air conditioners to death. They won't worry about cleaning the filters or anything else because they're not affected by it. But when they're affected by it and they say, hey, why my bill so high? I'll say, well, did you adjust your thermostat? Did you turn things down? And then they go, ah. But when you see one like this generally means there's a double unit, or this may be the storage unit. Maybe they have one unit that's dead, but they use it as storage for the building. Look at this, we're missing a post. There'd been a post welded in here. A car probably hit it, and it's probably what took that out. But I definitely am gonna weld that. I might even put a round over on this. I don't want somebody to get that through their windshield. That'd be terrible. Every strip center, not every, but ideally you wanna have access to the rear of your building for UPS trucks, deliveries in general. You don't want to have to run that stuff through the front door. This property has that. I don't like this water sitting here in the puddle. I may have to do something with that. You can see this access around the back. It's a little bit rough. We have some patches. You can tell that it's had damage and been patched with concrete. Down here, all these trees I'm going to trim. We're going to cut all these off. I told them to cut everything even with the fence all the way down. I've got some fence repair here, so we'll get rid of this fence. This is another common problem. See that opening back here? This is what happens when you're between an apartment complex and a commercial building. People make shortcuts. So I guarantee you this is a shortcut. Well, it looks like it's a private shortcut for these tenants that live in this one unit. They kick out the pickets and they make a shortcut to get into their favorite taco shack or whatever. This is way overgrown. This is all got to cut off. So you can see, look down here. You can't even hardly get a truck down here. And this is really bad because when these trees are forcing cars to stay closer to the building, there's a chance they're going to hit an air conditioner. And then that's about it could be a $1,200, $2,000 problem. This property really was neglected. And it's why, in part why I got such a good deal. But all these trees will be trimmed off flush all the way down to the end. Again, it's really rough back here. I got to do some work. You can see in the ground here, there's some trip hazards, if not tearing out the undercarriage of your car. These are things I want to get done so that when the tenants see that when I go to raise the rent, which I will, they won't feel so bad about paying it, because they'll feel like, oh, this guy cares about the property, which I do. That's a community trash can. A lot of times my tenants will have their own individual trash cans. In this case, I have 2 regular trash cans here. I have no idea why I have landfill trash here. I shouldn't really have any landfill trash. I don't know what the hell that is. We're gonna get rid of that. I don't want landfill trash. So I'm gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna send this to my property manager and say, what the hell is this? Get rid of this. As far as the asphalt goes, the asphalt is not horrible. You can tell it's been patched. They fixed all the problem areas. And there's a couple little minor things here and there. But it's real important you maintain your property. The more asphalt, the better. I love being able to have a landscaper come here and all he's got to do is pull out a blower. and blow off the, the trash and pick up the trash, that's in the parking lot. That is cheaper than landscaping. And I'm not even sure this grass that's out front here, I'm not even sure that this is my responsibility to mow, because I think this might end up being owned by the city according to my survey. So I may already have a city maintained yard. In fact, I'm not even sure if the city's supposed to maintain these trees, but I'm taking care of the tree trimming for my own selfish reasons right now. All right, so just come in here. This is one of the bathrooms at the rear of one of the properties. You can see they've got a condensation line running into a kitchen or into a bathroom sink. And of course, that's no good. Look at this light switch. This light switch is like 4 feet from the door, and the door opens up. Now, if the door opens, you would expect this light switch to be, as soon as the door ends, you'd reach and find it. Or when you open the door, you expect the light switch to be right inside. It's not. The light switch is in a poor location. You can tell there's been some drywall work done here. That's going to be redone. So anyways, I think I'll put the switch in this corner. And I got drywall work to do anyhow. We'll take care of the drywall work. You said I got a little water heater, but we're going to fix this stuff up and just make a little better food to it. You probably saw earlier, I've been picking up trash in the lot while Ryan's been getting B-roll, getting the different various shots that he's getting around the property. The other thing is, I came here at night. It's always a good time. It's always a good thing to come at night at a property just to see what the conditions are. It could be like there's people hanging around, you don't know, that maybe you don't like or you don't want. But what I noticed is none of the lights were working on the exterior of this property. So not only that, the parking lot light, the main tower, that light was out as well. So I had my electrician jump on that first thing. I think it's been addressed, but I'm still not 100% sure. So here's another thing. This looks like hell. So when you got a guy wire like this, and you can see why they have it, this pole's leaning that way. So I don't know why it broke. It may be too much, but obviously they got 3 guy wires here, so they definitely need another one to help support it. But when you got a chain of telephone poles this long, they're all pulling against the last one on the end, and that's why you see what you see here. So I'll call this in and have them address that too. Just all these little things add up, to looking like you take care of the property or not. So we're gonna make an immediate change and make this look better. And I just noticed like the hedges along the wall over here, those certainly need to be trimmed. So we'll make sure these hedges along the wall get taken care of as well. And even that mailbox, I might repaint that mailbox just because it looks so damn old and dirty. When I first looked at this property before I owned it, it was a windy day. And I could see this post just rocking back and forth. So I went and got a pipe wrench out of my truck. It's the biggest one with the longest lever. And I tightened up all these bolts and I leveled it. What you do is you can kind of take it for granted that all those posts and pylons over there that are supporting that they're level, okay? Standard practice. In this case, I didn't have a level, of course. So what I did is I lined this edge up with the edge of one of these pylons. So if you move your camera enough, this edge lines up with the edge. So you get one axis this way. Now go over here on this side. So by lining this up one direction on this and then coming back the other way, you can dial it in and have this thing leveled, or at least as level as your building is built. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, here's the center that we're leaving right there. Look at all these cars, all this awesome traffic, all these customers, potential customers driving by every day. That's the beauty of a busy location like this, is that it doesn't take but a week for everybody to know your business is in the neighborhood. And I often use that as a sales point when I'm convincing people to rent from me, as I just tell them, you know what, this is such a great location that in 1 week everybody's going to know you're here. You're not going to have a grand opening. They're going to see you. They're going to know you just moved in. So it saves time and money having to spend money on advertising in a local paper and that sort of thing. So I'm glad we got out here to the property, and that was really just nice to see that the tree guys are doing their job, and they got it cut up nice. That alley, man, just things have grown a lot just since I bought it 2 or 3 weeks ago. The growth is crazy. Things are growing like crazy right now. So now we got these issues with the trees cut in the back. All that'll be cut through. I saw one of those air conditioners. It looked like a car definitely hit it. It was damaged. But it probably works, but the outside cover looks like hell. And you got to worry too in today's day because copper and brass is quite valuable, and it's not all that uncommon for somebody to go in behind a building, and if they can do it successfully, they'll cut the electrical to it, they'll yank the whole unit, and they'll sell it for brass or copper, and they'll get $50-$60 for it, and you'll spend $1,200 to $2,000 replacing it. The good thing about having your air conditioning condensing units on the ground is that they're quickly accessible and fixable when they go out. But it's also a detriment because as far as thieves go, a thief can come in there and they can get at it, they can steal it, or they can damage them if they're vandals. So look, why is this property so special? Why do I love commercial retail property? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and this is ultimately what you want to aspire to be, is a retail. This is why Ben Mala owns this type of properties. This is why I own these kinds of properties. It's kind of the pinnacle of your growth of your empire. It's where you want to be. There's so much more landscaping per dollar spent on a home, on apartment buildings, all that sort of stuff. Industrial properties are great too. That's my second love under retail. I love retail probably more than industrial, but I love them both, to be honest, equally, and for some of the same reasons. But let's talk about this property particularly. So look this property is on a corner. It's got high traffic. What does that mean? It means, one, I'm going to have very low vacancy. Okay, this thing's been filled for the last 7 years, and that's only one vacancy in 11 years. So this is an amazing property. Hadn't been cared for very well. That's one of the reasons I love it. I come in here, I trim these trees like you just saw. I take care of business, make it a more profitable center. I make it more visible. I make it so that more people will see the customers, bring them more business. It's our success is shared. Always remember that. Your tenants are your customers, and your success is shared. If you always adopt that type of mindset, you'll be a very successful landlord. Well, let's get back to what I was telling you. So some of the key things about this that are so important. They each have their own electric meter. It means they're responsible for their power. They're responsible for their AC. They're going to keep their AC filters clean. When they see their bills going up, they're going to say, why is my electricity bill? I'll say, did you clean your filters? They're going to go, and they're going to start taking care of their filters. They're going to turn the thermostat down. They're not going to wear out the air conditioner. So I'm going to have less maintenance on this property than I would if I had a property where I had to pay for everything. I have some offices where they run the ACs to death. That won't happen in a commercial retail center as much. If I have a restaurant, guess what? They're going to be 100% responsible for that AC on that building, because they have high AC usage. Now I might split the cost of a new air conditioner every 5 to 7 years if need be, but for the most part, they're 100% responsible for the maintenance on these things. Look at the asphalt, the parking lot completely covered with asphalt. I have hardly any landscaping. I got this little patch of grass and these trees. It's nothing to take care of compared to many other properties that don't make as much. Again, they're businesses. What happens when a business stops making money and goes out of business? They leave. Okay, big difference. You get a tenant that's a owner-occupied residential property. They lose their job. They don't make their payment. They don't leave. Sometimes you got to throw them out. I don't have that problem. When a business goes out of business, they leave. There's no reason to linger. They stay, or to stay. They leave. So again, those are some of the key things that you always want to consider. The fact that when the tenants have their own responsibility for electric, AC, it's gonna be much cheaper on you. The fact that it's a great location, very busy, it's always going to stay occupied. The fact that I have very little landscaping means I'm going to have very minimal landscaping bills, right? There's not much to take care of, a lawnmower and tree trimming once in a while. Other than that, I'm going to have somebody come in at least once a week. They're going to blow the trash off the parking lot, and keep the parking lot clean. And this is really what you aspire to have. This is Ben Mullins the same way. He owns the same kinds of property that I own. He's got some bigger, more massive ones, of course. He's a little richer than I am, but it doesn't matter. It's all relative, and don't ever think it's not. So look, if you want to get in my mentorship, get in my mentorship. Be sure to get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's a big seller on Amazon and Kindle. So look, you're going to see some of my mentees that have made a fortune already. One of them is already a millionaire. He's going to be a multimillionaire here pretty soon. And that's just in 1 year. So anyhow, enjoy the testimonials, and please like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment please. It helps the channel. I'm giving you gold here, whether you realize it or not. This is stuff that will make you a fortune if you utilize the information that you're getting here for free. You want to take it to a higher level, take the mentorship. Of course, buy the book. That's a no-brainer. You think I'm getting rich selling a $7 book? You're wrong. I make $7 on the book. I care less. If you're not interested, don't buy. Don't touch the book, okay? If it's not your passion, you're going to fail anyways. If you don't have a desire to be wealthy and have a real estate empire, you're not going to have one. You got to want it. You got to want it. Remember that. You got to want it. So watch these guys that want it. They're coming up next. So it's really a perfect storm for making money in that respect. But in 1 year, his portfolio has gone from zero to $1.6 million. You would have got 30, 22?
Yeah, I think I got 27, yeah.
27 properties. You got 27 properties. John, you have to buy that. That is a great property.
I just closed on 2 houses yesterday. It's worth $250. I bought that one for $170.
My first millionaire, my first millionaire student. I don't want to screw around. I don't want to play games going back and forth. What is the absolute bottom dollar? And I'll tell you if I'm going to buy it or not.